The Rock and Refuel Recruiting Roundup is on the road in San Antonio for the U.S. Army All-American game. Now, I don't have Jason Jewell with me this week, but I have Brandon Huffman from Scout.com, and we're going to be talking about the guys with Arizona ties here in the bowl. We'll start with Austin Jackson, the #1 player in the state. What have you seen out of him so far?
Well, he looks like he's gotten a lot bigger since the last time I saw him in person. The last time I saw him in person was going into his junior year at the USC Rising Stars camp, and I mean, he's looked like he's put on substantial, what you expect in a year and a half. Looks, still as athletic as I saw him the first time, but it looks like he's gotten a lot stronger and a lot more physically kind of reaching his peak. Not at his peak yet, and that's what's so enticing about him, is that he's still not even near his ceiling yet, but he's already showing that good technique, the athleticism that you want from a left tackle, and he had a pretty good day today, I thought.
In terms of one of the more intriguing prospects here, I think it's got to be Odawa Isabor. Has only played football for just a few years, lit up the stat sheet very early in the process, but day one for him, how would you describe it?
I would say that he's one of those guys that's probably going to take a day to get his feet under himself, which he did today, and I think by the end of the week you'll start to see a little bit more from him. When you got the defensive ends here that are here for the West, Jalen Phillips is the #1 in the country, Hunter Echols is another top guy, Ernest Brown, there's some guys ahead of him, so he's not necessarily getting as many reps as he probably wants, but you could definitely see the physical upside there, and a guy that I think nowhere near his ceiling as well, and obviously a very intelligent kid, a very smart kid too, so he's got that high football IQ as he continues to learn the game. As that matches the physical tools, he's got a chance to be a pretty good player.
Saguaro safety KJ Jarrell, it seems like they have a pipeline to this game with Byron Murphy last year, but KJ, one of the safeties out here, on one of the deepest Saguaro defenses we've ever seen. Your first impressions of him?
The thing with KJ is that I talked about Austin Jackson, where he looked like he's putting on the weight. KJ still looks like he's got a lot of room to grow physically. A little bit more slight. Byron Murphy was a little more filled out when he got here, and when he went to college, although he ended up redshirting, other guys before him, Christian Kirk was a little bit more fit. KJ looks like he still could probably use a year as a redshirt to just bulk up a little bit more, but you can't really knock the athleticism. He's got good range, good closing speed. I don't want to say he got picked on a little bit, but there was a couple reps where he was getting the ball thrown to his side of the field a little bit more, which is more, I think, him having to offer safety help over the corner side, but made a couple really nice breaks on the ball. He had one in particular, Sean Robinson, the TCU commit, threw a pretty good pass, and KJ broke on it, knocked it away, and just kind of showed that explosiveness and that closing speed that you want from a safety.
Brandon Ruiz, the kicker, Williams Field, the Alabama commit. How important is it to have just a good kicker on this team and at the next level?
I remember when we were first coming to this game 10, 11 years ago, and there was kickers here that couldn't even make their kicks in practice, and then that carried over to the game. Watching some scrimmages in the Army week where guys were getting just completely mobbed for making a PAT. Well, they've changed it up, and now they're bringing the best of the best, kickers, punters. They're even having long snappers here. Those guys kind of get a raw deal in terms of practice. They're on the sidelines the majority of the time, just sitting there talking, hanging out, and then they get brought onto the field kind of cold. Fortunately, I think this weather is a little bit more up their alley, with the kicker and the punter being from Hawaii and Arizona, respectively. But I think those guys like being a part of all the action without having to take the bumps and bruises that a lot of the other players have to.
Jason Mons, one of the most prolific coaches in the state of Arizona, he's here as well. They're actually running the Saguaro offense for this West team. What have you seen out of Saguaro over the past few years, not only in the recruits, but the success that they've had on the field?
I mean, they're guys that are college ready. They come into college campus and they're playing. I mean, Byron Murphy redshirts this year, but he's a scout team player of the year. Obviously, Christian Kirk has been phenomenal as a high school player, and then carry that over to college, being the SEC freshman of the year, an all SEC receiver, former 5-star on scout. So you see those guys, and they come out of high school ready to play, ready to make an impact as soon as they get to a college campus. And I think that says a lot about the program. When you have guys, instead of maybe having one guy who's kind of that rare exception, it seems like every year those guys are ready to compete. If there's a job open, if there's an opportunity for them to get on the field early, they'll get on the field early and play. If they have to redshirt because there's a traffic jam, well, they're making their impact on scout team, which you're seeing with Byron Murphy. But I think with Mons, you just see him, the program is on such stable footing with him, and he loses guys to elite programs. He has All-Americans each year that graduate, and he keeps picking up where he left off the next year.
Well, there you have it. Plenty of great info from Brandon Huffman of Scout.com. Make sure to keep it here for Sports 360 AZ for all things Army Bowl related.